Let me make sure it's ready to go. Oh, come on. Did it start? Yeah, it did. Alright, it started.
We live?
Yep.
We are live. Had a little technical difficulty trying to get live today, but we're live, we're good and well, and we're here. So today we're going to be doing a spark plug change. This is like one of the final jobs on this Dakota before I send it out the door and let my son drive it. One thing with the 3.9s, 5.2s, and 5.9s, they have a little problem with Crossfire. And I found this out. I was working on a 98 Dodge Ram. It kept giving me a PO304 after I had done a spark plug and wire change. And it kind of blew my mind because there wasn't anything wrong with the engine, so it wasn't a fuel injector, it wasn't a coil, it wasn't any of that. But what we found is that there is a trouble safety bulletin. This one's called 184998. And what they had figured out was the routing of the wires is important because of the fact that it will crossfire. Crossfire will basically make it misfire, make it puke where it shouldn't. Computer detects it. Next thing you know, you're blowing your cats up. So, to alleviate that problem, Dodge came out with a sheet of how to reroute the wires. You start with the coil, you go through the top instead of down here, and on this truck they actually have the coil wire ran all the way down and up. And the bad thing about that, it's going to end up melting right here, and it's going to leave them stranded. The whole goal of this is to make this thing daily driver dependable and not leave them stranded. This is available on the internet, and each time I get one of these in, I pull this sheet because it works. It gives you a smoother idle, a little bit better gas mileage, spark plugs last a little longer. Here's the routing on the passenger side, shows you how to clip it in. 4 and 8 right here. Let's see, it's 2, 4. 2 will crossfire 4, 6 will crossfire 8. And as they show here, you know, you really want to have like an 1/8 inch finger gap. So on these jobs, I basically just rip everything out and start fresh. Now, for someone who doesn't do this for a living, you know, this could be quite challenging because it is 8 cylinders, and you get one backwards, you're definitely going to be throwing flame up or flame out the pipe. Neither is good. But we're going to go through this manual today, step by step. The kit that I got from AutoZone, kind of cool. Comes with new hangers, so that way we can keep it separated. So obviously AutoZone knew about this issue too. Most aftermarket spark plug wire companies don't include these, so that I got to give kudos to Duralast. You're going to notice too on the replacement spark plug wires from AutoZone, they do come with loom. So that's also a way that they eliminate the crossfire problem that these engines had. I haven't had a lot of problems with it, but each time I get one in and I'm going to do plugs and wire service, this is absolutely essential. And that way you can get almost 100,000 miles out of these plugs. And generally I do plug intervals on these trucks at about 50,000 miles. Or when the idle starts to get a little lumpy, I'll pull a plug, and if it looks ashy, like it's been running a little lean, you know, which happens with these computer controlled engines, you know, at that time it's a good time to do it. So 50 to 100,000 miles. We don't know what the service life is this. I know who did the plug wires on here last time was in a hurry because I hope the camera can pick it up, but the wires are just kind of laid in here, and especially like back here where they're all crossed together. You know, once these wires start to get old, then you'll start getting crossfire, and that's where you're going to get the lumpy idle. You may even check engine light. You may get a random PO300. This problem, if the wires are ran not correctly, it'll get you a PO304, so that's 4-cylinder, or get you a PO308, 8-cylinder. So other than that, let's just get started. One other note, when I do these jobs, because I'm going to basically pull the wires off at once, I do go ahead and mark the cap. Just makes it easy for me so I know which cylinder I'm working on, and then I can route it correctly, because there's also a routing they want done here too as well. Alright, let's get started. Give me 1 second, I got to get a couple things in order. When I do plug changes, I like to take the plugs out and mark the cylinder they come out of. That way we can see if we have any oil burning or leaning going on. when I got this running after the timing chain, we noticed it was running a little lean, which was kind of odd. But then after the gasket broke in and had a couple heat cycles, then she straightened out. We had fuel trims back into zeros. So that's kind of how it goes when you're working on cars. Computer control is a blessing, but it's also a pain in the rear sometimes. All right, spark plug wires. We're going to put our spark plugs here, so that way, you know, 1, 3, 5, and 7, and then 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, we've owned a few of these trucks over the years, so we've learned their bad habits. And they're really good trucks. They're kind of expensive to fix, though, I will tell you that. When you got one running good, it'll run good for a long time. When they start getting about 180,000 miles, that's when you start seeing gaskets go, like oil pan gasket or front timing cover. The chains generally don't have issues. I will tell you, if you start getting a little laggy on when you hit the gas and you feel kind of a lag, that's probably your chain. It could be low fuel pressure. But it's not uncommon to see one of these little 5.2s run for about 300,000 miles. In fact, I was at the junkyard one day and I saw one go to 363,000 miles. I had to assume that the transmission probably gave it up. The engine still looked dry. And what we've learned so far with this truck is that early in its life it was well taken care of. The last owners, well, not so much. Alright, I like to look in the cap to see if we got any carbon sparking going on. Pull the rotor. Oh yeah, okay. I hope the camera can pick it up. I actually got a crack right there. Not a big deal. You probably wouldn't notice it, but over time, if that breaks off, you're probably going to get a random misfire. Alright, put your new rotor in. Only goes on one way. I like to check and see if there's any play in the distributor. The type of distributors these are, they just have a little tooth that goes into the gear, and there's actually a case where that can strip out. So that's another thing that can give you an issue. You know, this one's a little worn, but not too bad. I mean, this truck does have 205,000 miles. I don't expect things to be perfect. Okay, throw the new cap on and get started. Only goes on one way. A little hard to reach there. I'm almost 6 foot tall, but sometimes still not tall enough. Huh?
I was watching the stream. She was like, "What is a carbon spark?"
What is a what?
Everyone watched the stream saying, "What is a carbon spark?"
Carbon spark.
I had to go through it.
Carbon spark's real simple. It's like lightning. Lightning hits the ground. There's that brief area of blackness. Well, it's normal to have some carbon sparking, but it can get to the point to where the spark likes to jump, and then you'll feel that in your seat. Be like, what's wrong with my track? Alright, once you get the bolt started for the cap, you want to go evenly on each side. So excuse me while I jump around here a little bit. You notice I have not disconnected the wires yet. Got nothing in yet. Yeah, this is the last of the old school distributors. Everything after this is all ignition modules, coils over pistons. Don't get me wrong, it's cool technology. I'm gonna have to do something I didn't want to do. Get these out of the way. Got one running under the cap. Get those out of the way. Yeah, I've seen a lot worse caps. Normally right here, you'll start seeing them almost be chewed completely off. So this cap's been done recent. But we like to know what we have. They definitely put enough dielectric grease on there. Interesting. Yeah, the old caps used to have snap locks on them. The one thing I like about these caps is once you get them down, they stay in place. And for some reason, it doesn't want to go in its home. There we go. Joys of aftermarket parts. If I could get dealership parts for this thing, I so would. A little fitment issue. Isn't that interesting? Alright, and you tighten this down. Don't over tighten it. I don't know how many times I've been working on vehicles lately and the bolts are just way over tight. We did the transfer case on this. They had over tightened the bolt so bad I actually had to get out a cheater bar and get almost 2 feet of extension on it to pop the bolt. Not good on magnesium cases. Okay. You have to change my numbers because I had the cap 180 degrees backwards. Oh. Yeah, number one on these is not like a 350. So if you go trying to point this because the firing order is the same as a 350, you're going to find out real quick it don't work like that. Just remark the cap, start over. One, 8, 4, 3, should be 6, 5. Seven, 2. Okay, now we can get started with 1. Now I've seen guys try to pull these coil caps out to protect the plug from, well, plug wire from basic corrosion. There's no need to actually pull these little cups out. There's just no need for that. That's a waste of time because you're never going to get them out. Alright, 14 mil. Here we go. Now I did take the battery out so you guys have a better view. But there's no need. Now I am using a magnetic spark plug tool. It's actually kind of cool. I'll show you this here in a sec. Yeah, I'll tell you what, this tool is worth its weight in gold. So we have an Autolite 3924. And it looks like we got a little oil burning but this thing's been sitting for a minute. So with Dodges, I will tell you something, they sit, the valve stems will tend to leak some oil down. I'm not too worried about that. It looks pretty clean. We're actually gonna go back in with Autolites. And let's see if the Vika tells us what the spark plug gap should be, and it does. And it looks like 0.35, 0.25. Let's see here. 0.35 of gap. Let me show you something here. Best way to tell how much wear is on a plug, take your tool. Alright, so we got about 37 thousandths there, so it's been done recently. But you want your Dodges to run right, you want to use Champion. Don't use Autolites. Now we're going to check the gap. $35, I'll run a number. Thread it in by hand. I've also seen people get crazy with the torque on the plugs. Pretty much a quarter past stop, call it good. And I'll show you that here in a sec. Sometimes there's a little carbon in the plug hole. There we go. Alright, good there. Now we're going to replace the wire one at a time so we get the correct size. So another thing that's kind of annoying when you're doing V8s and aftermarket plug, wires will tend to be either too long or too short. Okay, that's the coil wire. Get that out of the mix. Okay, just to show you some differences with aftermarket parts, look at the boot difference. This is the one we took out, this is the one we're putting in. And to show you, right at the distributor cap, they did put the loom in so it stops crossfire at the cap. Alright, back in for number one. Okay, I'm going to look at our sheet and see how they want one ran.
So how many are in here?
You have 8.
8. 8 cylinders you have to go through.
Yep. I have to do each wire one at a time as the diagram shows here.
So what else has to be done with this?
Pretty much oil change, and out the door it goes.
Out the door it goes. Yeah, we could definitely do a live where we show the truck going and getting. So what I think is we go take it for a wash. Try to get a muffler for it. Go through dirt with it. There you go. Go through mud.
First drive out?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, okay.
Totally.
Really test my work.
Yeah. Make it all muddy. Make it all. Go through all the potholes. There you go. Go through all the potholes. Because if you don't test it through the potholes, what good is a truck, huh? What good is
it? Ain't a truck.
It ain't a truck.
It's not a truck.
Yeah, it is not a truck.
Well, they must not have been too concerned with cylinders 1 and 3. So, if I remember right, it was the rear where it all comes together where they're more worried about it. Okay, so that's fine. All right.
Yeah. So eventually, I do want to. I want to get this out. Have it live, pretty much have it like put it on live, and do a shorts video on it.
Yeah, you do it. All right, a little dielectric grease. Some of these come pre-greased, some don't. Now I realize that these weren't. So you don't need a lot of this stuff. So you definitely want a tube if you go to do this, just in case. Yours did not come with it. Now, the one thing I know about Crossfire is we want to try to keep these as separated as possible. So when we start, one is pretty easy to do. Once we get back here and I start getting a little bit of a mess going, then I'll start doing some separation. Because pretty much you want to run some on the outside of these clips, some on the inside of the clips. You definitely don't want them all tangled up like they have them here. So, okay, we're going to leave that for right now. I'm going to get a couple of these done, and then I'll go back to the cap and I'll do my routing there. The one thing you don't want, let me show you with this wire. You don't want them all tangled up in the back, and you don't want to do this kind of number where they're crossed, because that's where the misfire will come in. I mean, even doing this is okay, as long as you got the little clip there, and I'll show you that when we get there.
We have a question.
Huh?
It's Flower Boy.
Questions. We like questions. What kind of question you got?
How fast can you push this Dodge Dakota?
Well, the speedometer says it can do 120 miles an hour. And it does have overdrive.
I think what he's asking, I think he's asking how fast can you put, like, what is he asking? I think what he's asking is how far can you push this thing? Like the what engine can you put in it? Like how can, for example, if you were to drag with it, how fast can you push this thing until it breaks?
Well, let me tell you a story what the old timers used to tell me about the 318. You can shoot this block and it'll still run. I actually had seen one that had smoked so much oil that the owner did not change the oil for 4 years, drove it to Seattle and back. Now it's 400 miles there, 400 miles back. He did this for 4 years. You know what finally broke on that truck?
What?
The rear end. But that engine that smoked, and I mean it smoked like a freight train.
That's wild. So I guess that answers your question. How fast can you push this Dodge?
Speed wise, I mean, you get it on a drag strip and you got a pretty long run. I mean, I know this truck will do $120. We have overdrive.
Hold on. So what's the rate for this? So what's the speed? Like what can it actually push to? Because it says to what, 200 horsepower?
Oh, this engine?
Yeah.
The Magnum should be 235 or 220. Well, it depends on which website you go to. Some say 220, some say 230.
I think does the manual say it?
No. Doesn't.
Of course it doesn't.
Now, here's the fun fact. What's the horsepower difference between a 5.2 and a 5.9?
195 versus 200?
No. Cruddy Dodge that we had, the 91, that was 185 horsepower.
Oh, yeah. You used to have 200.
So this is like I want to say conservatively 225, We'll call it 225, and the 5.9's 245.
Yeah, that's.
So you're talking only about a 20 horsepower difference.
That's
Now, torque-wise is where you make the difference.
If I turn 2 Magnum. 230 allegedly.
Yeah, so 230, and then you'll see the 5.9's like 245.
But that's a 4-stroke. Okay, hold on.
Ah, that is way too tight.
Alright, so we have here, let's see, trying to look at it, how much you can push. Okay, so it says created 230 horsepower at 4,100 RPM and 295 foot-pounds at 3,000.
So 295 foot-pounds of torque, and then 230 horse at what, 4,400?
4,100 RPMs. A 5.2 Magnum V is installed in the 1984 Jeep Grand Cherokee. You wanted to put this in a Grand Cherokee? I guess you could.
I've actually driven one with a Grand Cherokee in it.
Yeah, it says when it was completely replaced by the newer 4.7 liter PowerTech SOC V8 engine. It lasted until 2002, so the last year's to 2002. You have to get 2002 Dodge Dakota.
Was last year for the Magnums then?
Last year of the Magnums.
Yep.
So we have to find a 2002. Great to know. Great. So now if we want to find it, well, it won't really matter because we're going to put 360 in it anyways. Or just make it custom built 360.
Well, you're talking about the Durangos or Dakotas?
I'm talking about the Dakotas.
Yeah.
The last generations of those 2 years. You drag them and you build them into a newer engine and make them powerful. So you push them up against their limit.
Well, I'll tell you what, a cold air kit and some free exhaust, and you can get that 5.9 to about 260 horsepower.
Yeah.
Now you get some headers, you're probably talking 270. But the torque in that engine is something else. It's actually got more torque than my 3/4 ton truck does for towing.
What?
That 98 Dodge Ram.
Oh. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep. Okay, cylinder number 3. Get these two started and ran. Now off camera, what I'm not showing you, I'm going to show you now just so I can show you once. You grab your new plug wires, grab your old one, and you find your match. Which in this case is going to be this one right here. Okay, you match them up to size, so they're pretty close. Yeah, with these being a little bit taller, I'm going to have to space them about like that. Oh, I grabbed the wrong one. Ooh. Hold on a second, I'm sizing these up.
What are you sizing up?
The old one to the new one.
Oh.
Alright, just like that. You just find your exact match. One reason why I don't go ham and ripping all the wires off, some guys will, but you know, when I'm doing this particular bulletin, slow and steady wins the race. Dielectric grease must be expensive.
Why do you say that?
Because these wires don't come with it pre-installed. It
Oh,
wasn't in the
sick.
box. Okay, so this one we're going to run right beside. I'll put a clip in here and we'll keep them separated. I'm going to run behind. Okay, we're at 135, so we're at 3. Okay, 4, 3. Get that kind of loosely ran. I like to try to get my wires right behind everything, so like the fuel injector, fuel injection harness, you want to definitely get that away. 4, 3, 3's in the back. Okay, now we'll take the clips out of the bag for, like I showed earlier, we're going to use the short ones for the front cylinders, both sides. Let's see how many they give us. Hopefully they gave us 2 of the small ones. Nope, they only gave us 1. Huh, interesting. Okay, we'll get these 2 put away. Okay, now you can see that we actually have a nice gap. When I get this bank of cylinders done, then we'll go through to the final routing. One thing that's nice with the original clips versus the OE or the aftermarket is that you can see they're double-sided, so you can run a set of wires inside of here, then you can run an outside set. So we will be reusing these as it shows in the bulletin I have up there. Okay, continuing on. In cylinder number 5. Got this one, they didn't even have in a clip. That is a short wire. Interesting. For plugs that haven't been in for a while, they certainly feel like they've been there for a minute. Ah, that's probably the cleanest plug I've seen so far. Now what ends up happening too over time with heat cycles is that the electrode will actually start, either one or two things, will start coming down with the heat or it'll start coming out. Either way, if it's not at least 35 to 40 thousandths, you'll feel that at a stoplight. As we're going in, I'm also checking the gap off camera. For an engine to run like it's supposed to, everything must be equal. So you can see that's set right on the money at 35. Yeah, we had done some experiments with this engine. We had ran some E3 spark plugs. And I'll tell you what, the E3s, yeah, I will admit it gives you a little bit more power. But at that point, though, you're prone to pinging and misfiring. Just because once the plug gets old, they'll start developing hot spots, start firing off the mixture before the spark happens. So, I mean, they're good plugs, but the long haul, longevity side of them, not so much. Good there. Alright, so let's see. 1, 3, and 5. Alright, little dielectric back in the hole we go. We'll run to the back and then we're going to straighten these out. Alright, so 4, 3, 6, and 5. 7 and 2. I don't know if the camera could pick it up, but I also see people do this too, where they leave one wire on another. Again, it's very important that you actually keep a 1/8 inch difference away. This is probably one of the shorter ones you'll have in your set. Alright, so far everything's going good.
Dr. Frank.
You got a question?
Dr. Frank says, will you ever build a drag truck?
Yes. We are planning on it. We got a couple different ways we can go. I've got a Chevy block over here. It's a 350 block, but it's a 638 cast.
Chevy block? We are not building a Chevy.
Well, they're cheap to build.
Unless we're building a Cyclone. You know those little Chevy Cyclones?
My true build that I want to do, a couple trucks I want to do. I'll start with the one I really want to do. I would like to do like a 90s Blazer before they went to the round body.
Oh, are you talking about a 50? Or no. You're talking about the K5 Blazer.
The K5 Blazer.
Yeah.
Okay, because it was a TBI truck.
Yeah. Well,
and
they had Vortec. They had Vortec. Well,
no, not the 90 square bodies.
No?
No.
Sure?
Yes. I am very positive about this.
Well, I'm not really.
Now, the thing that's cool about the like 9091, the last of the square body Blazers, you can pretty much stick any engine you want. I've seen guys stick 454s in. I've watched guys stick in LSs. You know, me, I'd probably, go with old school power. Like this block I have sitting here in the shop, I've been waiting for a build on, but I'm probably going to bore it out to, I don't know, 2 bores I was thinking of, either doing a 355 Screamer or doing a 383 with it, because the block is solid.
So Chevy, you want to build Chevy?
Well, no, I got 2 trucks I want to build.
We might as well build an El Camino.
Now, that is just classic power right there. The El Camino is cool.
Oh, we have another question by Gerardo Vedana. 5.9 question mark? It's a 5.2, right?
This is a 5.2.
Yeah, this is a 5.2. It has 8 cylinders, and it's a pretty rare car, 1996. Well, sorry. I shouldn't say that. I should say it's a hard car to find.
Yeah, finding a 96 with a V8 with OBD2 was a hard find. Yeah. Now, to the second truck that I want to build.
Yeah, no, I think, honestly, I think we should build a Dodge Dakota that is a dragger, that has a 5.9 in it.
Yeah, the other truck I'd like to do is a 2-wheel drive, 5-speed Dakota, either square body or the round body, so it'd be like 97, 98. I'd like to stick a massively overpowered 360 in, because it would drop right in.
Yeah.
The parts are cheap.
It would fit.
It would fit.
And on top of that, I mean, yeah, it wouldn't have good gas, like fuel, like it wouldn't be really good. But...
For a drag truck, you don't care. You burn 4 gallons at a time.
That thing full. Make it a diesel. There you go. Yeah.
Diesel's a whole different class.
Straight pipe it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd stick with gas.
Yeah, okay, so Dr. Frank says again, do you like older or newer cars?
Me, I like it old school. As you see, I'm rebuilding this 96 Dakota. Now, don't get me wrong, the 2010 Dodge Rams, those trucks are fun to drive. That Hemi, yeah. You can't beat it. Like 400 horsepower without turning a wrench. That thing is just stupid fast.
Gerardo says, you guys like second-gen Dakotas, ?
I do like them. I haven't built one yet, but I do like the body style. I like the interior a little bit better than I like the square bodies. But I always have a love for a square body Dodge.
I think second-gen Dakotas are pretty, plentiful. They have a lot of parts. They drive nice. Except for the Ram that we have here.
Yeah, we have a 98 Dodge Ram. And, it gets about 5 miles to the gallon in the city. Unless you're doing, 40 miles an hour, then I can squeeze 12 out of it.
You know what's funny? I think I fell in love with the round bodies after I saw the 98 Ram. Because I didn't like round bodies. But they made them actually make sense. I'm like, because Chevy wanted to do that.
Well, you know, round body's nothing more than just square body technology.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Like, there are parts I can interchange with this truck with the 98. I can rip the engine out.
If I had one gripe with the Dakota, I think it's the fact that they don't have those on the back. Those lights right there. The yellow ones, like the, what do they call them? Blinkers.
Your turn signals.
Lights. Yeah, I think you know, they could do better. They could do better. Anyways, I think we should get back to work.
I'll never get this done. I'll be on all night.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me grab a drink.
Yeah, no, I think honestly they should have definitely like put blinkers like on the end, like, instead of red, just straight up red.
I've been talking so long, I forgot where I'm at.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Eventually, we'll have a two-wheel drive truck with 5-speed in it, and we'll put a 5.9 in it.
Yeah, that's the short term and cheap. It's cheap to build that kind of truck.
I mean, I don't know. We can't. Do you know how much K5s go for?
Yeah, that's the cost prohibitive part. Find one that's wrecked is about $5,000 right now.
Yeah, and on top of that, finding parts for that thing, it's not going to be easy either. It has to be right around those years. Yeah, no, it's insane.
Yeah, this plug's a little wet. I can't tell if that's fuel. Now, we did a couple starts yesterday when we did the alternator, so I didn't get the engine up to temperature, but this is why short mile driving or not letting it get up to temperature is a bad thing. You see we got a wet plug there, and to me it smells like fuel. So definitely one thing with these trucks, you don't want to short hop them. You definitely want them getting up to temperature when you run them. So far, that's about the worst plug I've pulled out. I think we got a plug here that was dropped. Oh yeah. Now if I would have just blooper. Alright, what I was gonna say is I was gonna stick this plug in and I didn't check the gap on it. Calls for 35. Look where we're at. This plug got dropped. So now I've got to slowly spin this around, pulling up so I don't break the electrode to get to 35. So we're just about there. See 1020.
Okay, flower boy. All right, you want another one?
I like questions. What you got?
We got, what is one dream car you would own?
Oh, 69 Chevy Malibu. Hands down, with a 327 low wrap motor in it.
Oh, which one was it? Which one was mine? Mine was what was mine? Mine was a it was a Chevy SS, but I don't know what year what year it was. I think it was like a 67 or something like that.
Yeah, 69 was the only year that had that particular grille and the rear lights. And when you rake them up, so you put the rear up a little bit with some air shocks and drop the front, it just looks sick.
Yeah, no, I think I would own a Dodge Charger. What is it called? No, it was a Charger, right?
Well, you had the Chargers, you had the Hemi Cudas, the Barracudas.
The Plymouth Cudas. I think I went on the 1969 version or the 1970s one. 1970s definitely looked like a good grill year. It also kind of outtook the Ford when they made those, like, because they were competing versus Ford. So then they found a Dodge Charger. They're like, all right, we're gonna challenge you, and then it ended up winning like horsepower, torque. It pretty much had all of it. Had a nice one. All right, so Gerardo Vidana says, I did a quote on my 4.7 yesterday, and it was more of a hassle than the 3.9, 5.2, and 5.9. It looks so much easier on your truck.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah, 4.7 is definitely an interesting engine to work on. I've worked on a few over the years, and I will tell you what, you got to be careful because those aluminum heads. You really got to, I mean, just be careful. That's it, plain and simple.
You know what own as a budget car?
Huh.
I would own a I'd probably own a 4.7. because it's a budget, so you don't use as much gas.
You know what's funny about the 4.7 though is it puts out 245 horsepower.
There's no way.
No, it is. It's engineered power.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane. I honestly, if I could keep my cruddy, I would. If I could have kept my cruddy, I would. I totally would have kept her.
Yeah, but the problem with Cruddy is that we could not find parts for her.
Yeah, but there was no problem. We fixed her up right up.
We fixed it.
Like, it was clear as day, and now. Oh man.
Okay, so 1, 3, 5, and 7. Yeah, 4.7, and you got to have specialty tools, especially if that timing chain breaks in there. That's one thing you definitely want to do your maintenance on.
What about the 3.9?
3.9 is like this engine. I mean, that's people are going to call it underpowered. It's only 195 horsepower, but you're looking for good gas mileage and daily driver.
3.9 and 4.7?
I would take the 3.9 over the 4.7.
Oh.
But they are plentiful out there to get, so
Yeah.
as long as you have good oil pressure in those, they'll last a long time.
I think I'm gonna end up getting another Dakota, but it's gonna be an automatic and it's gonna be like a 1982.
All right, now we're down to the cylinders that have the TSB side of this. So you got 5 and 7. They want 5 ran over the PCV breather this way, and then this one very sharp to the back valve cover onto the cap, and then they want it ran this way. So very interesting once you get to the back. But the thing that bugs me about this paper, it doesn't show 1 and 5. So 1998 and prior, this is what you do. So anything after 92 will have this problem if you just go slopping wires and not careful of what you're doing.
All right, Dr. Frank says, how close is this truck to running? Like, how done is it? Question mark. I hope that made sense.
How done is it?
Yeah, how done is it?
Well,
how done do you think?
When we bought it, it was driving, but she leaked a lot of fluid. And whoever had done the brakes did a just terrible job. So we had to do a complete brake job front and back.
Fun fact, it has ram suspension. It has, is it a Chevy run?
No. What had happened is someone had blew the rear end in this, or spider gears, and they put in pre-1984 spider gears. So when we went to get these little clips, the little clips that go onto the axle, holds the axle on, well, the ones the truck should have are what we call 1.55s, and the one the truck has are 1.50s. You can't put the rear end back together without the right clips. So we actually had to call a rear end company in California, tell him what we got, and he's like, oh boy, that's an old school trick. But yeah, 1984 parts and a 96. So this Dodge had a blown up rear end. Now, we got it and did the test drive. It drove okay. I mean, we had some issues. We got some money off the price. The alternator was noisy. The heater core was plugged, so we did that. Fuel gauge and coolant gauge wasn't working.
Yeah, no, we got it. I mean, it drives smooth with the ram suspension and the pretty much.
Yeah, when they did the shocks on here, which we're gonna have to go do, they put regular shocks instead of struts in the front and shocks in the back. Look like they come off a Ram truck. Now, a lot of parts with the Ram trucks are interchangeable with this. That part's true. It's just a lot of old school, old boy tricks. But as far as we're just about ready to get this thing going for a daily driver. When we got it, the front timing cover was leaking, so this thing was drinking a lot of coolant. It wasn't burning. It was just leaking right out the front cover. I will have a video out for that. It's going to take me a little bit to get to. You know, one thing with editing videos, it does take time to do it, which is why I don't upload every day. Unfortunately, you know, I do work and, you know, got to have a little bit of a life. But with this, we're almost there. The oil pan, someone screwed up the oil pan bolt, so it leaked. So we had to put a thread kit in it. So once we get that done, other than that, we're ready to go. You know, we got the heater core working. We got all the gauges working. We got the lights working. Pretty much that's about that.
Yeah, no, okay. So Flowerboy says, would you ever record more of this truck like live like a blog? So I think his question means, I think what he's meaning is when you take it out, kind of like, hey, look at my truck. it's running.
Oh, we can do that.
Like
a payoff.
Yeah, so what you do is you take it to like somewhere where you can go 100 miles per hour.
Well, it's going to be in break-in time. We're going to be driving it kind of gingerly for a minute, so. But yeah, we can do that. Okay, so we got this bank done. Now we just got to go through and do some wire routing. Okay, so number 7 goes over. There's a breather that has to go here. I've got to actually replace the seal and the vent here. And then we got the one in the back, 3 on the side. Let's get all our wire loom up to our cap. Okay, so that one on the bottom. That one on top. Okay, we're going to put our original clip back in. So we can hold 2 on the outside. Okay. Now, very important, once you get to the back here, to separate them out. And someone's broken the back clip. Cool. Okay, this is where we get to use the new ones. In a second, we're going to change the view to the other side. Get a light here.
Smells the irony in here.
Yep. That's the smell of new parts.
Didn't know it smelled like iron. Ugh. That's gross. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy.
Okay, now, I hope the camera can pick it up, but we have separation. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to loom this when I get the job done so it doesn't fall like this, because I don't have a bunch of these small little clips. Otherwise I would do 2 all the way out. But the biggest thing is to have like a fingernail's length between them so we don't jump the gap. But the way we have it now, we have support in the back, we have support in the mid. We run number 135, 5 runs over, back of the cap. And then this side's pretty much done. So let's move the camera and get to the passenger side. There's actually a little bit better visibility over there. And then once we get done, I'm going to show you the cap in the back. And I'm going to show you how we route the coil wire. Because this is also part of the problem too, is they route it on one side and it ends up charging the wire before the spark even has a chance to go through the cap. And I've seen that once.
Alright, ready to move it?
Ready to move.
Alright, make sure that's set.
I'm going to pick that tire up.
Yeah. There's crap on it. That's disgusting. I hope that washes off. Think it's going to wash off?
What's that?
Poop.
Oh, yeah.
As
soon as you do 100 miles an hour, as they say, the shit will fly.
Literally. Okay. We have another question.
Okay.
If you had to fix cars for the rest of your life, would you?
That's my plan.
I mean, yeah.
I actually like to try to stay in restoration. You know, I don't mind doing repair, but these newer cars, they're a trick to work on because it's not just mechanics. You got to fight the computer systems.
I honestly think I want to get a car, buy it myself, and actually work on it. So if it's my fault, I get to learn.
The hard way.
Yeah, cameraman wants to learn. And also detailing too. That's another fun factor of mine because dirty cars give you good money.
Yeah, but honestly, I'd like to stay in restoration. I mean, those are the cars I grew up with from basically mid 70s, 80s, 90s. I mean, even some 2000s. I mean, I do work on newer stuff. You can see in the channel, but you start getting into these like 2017 cars, and I mean, you're forever battling more electrical issues than you are mechanical. Yeah, they still have oil and coolant and, you know, spark plugs and all that kind of thing, but the repair work is different. And that, it blows me away. I get a guy comes in here today with, what was it, 2007 Ford.
Ford. That's what he was driving?
That's what he was driving. It was 2007 Ford Exploder.
Oh, Ford Exploder?
And I asked him, I said, how much did you pay for this? And he goes, oh, you know, 4,500 bucks. Okay, 180,000 miles. And I pull the computer codes. And this thing has codes, everything from wheel speed sensors to ABS problems, to the airbag deployment system, to PO302, so cylinder number 2 is misfiring. And I'm looking at this going, okay, 4,500, it's 2,000 to fix the ABS problem, not counting the tune-up it's going to need to clear the PO302. Where do you stop? And he, I don't know, he was just in a hurry to buy a vehicle, and it's going to bite him.
Don't order Ford, except for Mustang.
Well, I don't know about that, but, you know, we call it our union gospel mission, so people give them free cars, and they do a little bit of work to them. But I know this thing went up for sale because no one wanted to spend the $2,000 to fix what they call the RCS, roll stability control, which is the ABS pump.
If I were to ever own a Ford, I think it would be somewhere between the 70s.
You know what, an old school high boy, I would do that.
Yeah, 70s, 80s, like maybe even 60s.
You know, the Ford made a good 3.8 in the later years.
Cobra. Yeah.
Cobra. The 4.6, a good engine. 5.4 starts getting iffy and it's getting a 3-valve. The Coyote motor looks pretty solid. But yeah, these the newer cars are a trip.
Yeah.
All right, before I get started, I'm going to take the camera and I want to show you what they did before I show you what I did.
Here, let me take it off the power.
Okay.
And then take it.
Oh,
all right, we're good.
We're good.
All
okay.
Right. So
all right.
we had he is not using an iPhone.
I'm not an iPhone user. I'm an Android guy. All right, so here's coil wire, and as you can see here, it's just dangling. And eventually what will happen is it'll get hot enough, it'll run right into the exhaust manifold. So what they recommend to do is we're actually going to pull this, and just to show you the mess back here. See, that's what you don't want. That's what creates the PO304 or the PO308, where all those wires are crossed. And then on top of that, you run the ignition wire through there, and then all of a sudden you got lumpy idle. All right. All right, so the TSB states they want you to run it up here. And you'll notice with the coil wire I'm going to put in, it is all loomed up. But they want it ran like this, separated away from everything. And so that works really well. And really, you want to do this on any Magnum that I'm showing you here today. It doesn't matter what year or what.
What year, what engine?
Anything from about 92.
All right, sorry, we're back. Dude, stop. You're causing it to go wonky. All right.
I know, someday I got to figure out a camera that isn't so wonky, but...
No, it's not that. It's,
Hold on. There we go.
It's not that. It's just, you need to stop, like, swiping it. The only issue is mine doesn't have buttons, so, like...
What was it, Dora? Swiper, no swiping?
Well, the funny thing is my iPhone, the iPhone actually got rid of the button. And I don't understand why they did that, but it's just like a lot of things when cars get rid of their things. And then,
So you do the touch screen now?
yeah. Kind of like Teslas. Kind of like Teslas.
Okay, moving over.
Yeah, I got you a question without anyone answering. Would you ever own a Tesla?
Oh, no.
Would you ever own one with an engine in it?
really blow people's mind. You got a Tesla, it's like you're at the gas station filling up.
Yeah.
That I would probably do.
With a dock engine, with a V8?
That I could see myself doing, but owning a Tesla, no.
Well, that's what I was saying, man. You own a Tesla with the gas engine. People look at
See,
you.
here's the problem that I see with Teslas, and I see this on Facebook. You run out of power, and then you got to have someone tow you to a power station.
Yeah, but at least you don't have to use gas.
Right, that's true.
You use power.
But you're paying for power.
Yeah, you're paying for
And take you 6 or 7 hours to charge you a battery.
You're paying to play.
That you get 260 miles out of, which kudos to them. Now, with us where we live, if we wanted to go to Seattle, we'd have to stop in Ellensburg, charge the car to finish the trip.
I think they should remove the tablet or the little thing because that's what's wasting that power. But it doesn't tell you that you're out of power unless it knows. You know.
I don't know. If I was rich and I wanted something different to drive, I'd go that route. But I'm a poor guy, so a poor guy, he ain't gonna sit there and call an electrician to put a box outside his house.
Yeah. So you get a big old beat up Honda.
So you get a beat up Honda, gets 30 miles to the gallon. You can make it to Seattle with almost a little over half a tank.
Put VTEC in it. Yeah.
VTEC.
Yeah, that's my question to you. I was like, Teslas, man. You can put an engine in it. That's the weird part. You can still put an engine in a Tesla.
Well, yeah, they took a thing like a VW Bug, where the front engine compartment is just your trunk.
Yeah, it amazes me what they can do. And Tesla's like, don't do that. And it's like, what? If you intended for it, why can't we do it?
This plug wasn't even tight.
Most of our cars that we go through, the plugs are not tight. Toyota Tundras, the Dodge, QX4.
No. The QX4, I torqued that. That was fine when I did those plugs again. That's when I started learning E3s are nice for like hot rod cars, but not the best for daily drivers.
I got you another question. What's a car you would actually work on if I bought it? If I made you suffer through the worst car ever, would you work on a Ford? Like the worst Ford ever?
I do work on Fords.
The ones with the most recalls.
Which one?
Which one is there? Which one's like the most recalled? I'm gonna look it up.
Don't give me an Exploder that's a 2006 through 10. I saw that today. I'm like, yeah, I'm not impressed.
Oh boy. It's not telling me which Ford got recalled.
Well, while he's looking that up, I want to show you. This is what happens in shipping. We're at a little over 15 thousandths. If I would have stuck that in, yeah, we would have some bad idle.
My Mozilla just crashed. All right, so F-150 that actually got recalled. I think 70s, 80s. The worst years for those.
70s and 80s were tough years for Ford because they were going to electronic fuel injection, and they didn't have a way to talk to the computer till 1987.
We got another question here by Dr. Frank again.
Okay.
What do you think there are some disadvantages of owning a car? So what are the disadvantages? What are the pros and cons?
I'll tell you one thing about cars that are different than trucks. We go to the auction and we buy cars and fix them up and sell them. And a lot of times what we're seeing is when these cars start getting about 150 to 180,000 miles, they start to rattle. Yeah. Doors don't shut right. The hood doesn't shut right. It may not even been in a wreck, but because the unibody structure of most cars starts to fatigue and flex, you got noises you're chasing for days you can't fix. You know, unlike a truck like this where it's on a frame, you know, if we wanted to, we could replace any part of it. We could replace the frame, the cab, the doghouse, as they call it right here. I mean, cars wear out. And this is where we start seeing cars at 200,000 miles. And I tell people, do not buy cars at 200,000 miles, but it's cheap. Then they get in and drive down the road and everything rattles, suspension bangs. You go to a alignment shop and they look at you and say, it's the best we could do. And you know, cars are good when they're early in their life, but as they get to 20 to 25 years old, and depending on how they've been maintained and the roads they've been on, the fatigue factor is really bad with cars.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I think one of the hardest parts is if you get a rare truck, it's hard to find parts for.
Well,
I think that's one of the disadvantages of owning an old car, though.
If you're talking like an old car, I had a buddy that had a 1978 Buick Century. Now, this is not the Century of the 80s. This is the last rear-wheel drive Century.
Right.
And he ended up getting a wreck. Just wrecked the door.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Go to the junkyard, go get a door.
Yeah, find a door.
But what he didn't realize is that was a one-off body, and so you didn't have access to like Oldsmobile parts, Pontiac parts. It had to be an actual Buick Century door to fit.
Yeah. We got another one. Got one more. Okay. So Wildlife again asks, do you think you will not be able to find this engine anymore if, and I think what he means by that is if they ever, how many Dodges do you think they sold him this year?
Here's the cool part why we like this engine. This engine went in everything Chrysler, and what I mean by that, it went in the trucks. So if I needed a valve cover for this engine, I could go to a Dodge Ram truck and pull it. I could go to a Wagoneer. I could go to a Grand Cherokee. I could go all the way to 2002. I could pull parts from a Durango.
So essentially, to answer this question, you will never be able to run out of these until they all were to just pretty much fly out and die.
What I think is eventually is going to happen, and this is what the industry is kind of pointing towards, you know, if you don't get a certain mile per gallon, they're going to tax you so hard you're not going to want to drive it. Like in our state, they're trying to pass a tax that they charge you per mile. Now think about this. The federal government charges you 65 cents a gallon, or is it 18 cents? 18 cents a gallon.
18 cents.
And then our state charges 65 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
So you buy something that's not fuel efficient, and you're basically paying per mile. But their idea is, we'll take the gas tax off, but we're going to charge you per mile driven.
So it's like the concept of Teslas when the electricity per mile, then they charge you, and that's how much they can charge you. They pretty much destinate what your miles were, because that's what some of them do that. Most of them, like you go to California and you'll find it there.
Yeah, but I think eventually the emissions, I mean, like in California when I was growing up, if you didn't have emissions on your car, you didn't get your tags, and then that would be a nasty ticket. They did that up here too, except for in the last couple of years, they don't no longer check your computer for codes to make sure that you're efficient. Or like in our state, 25 years or older, you don't have to get the computer ran. But then you buy a newer car, the computer doesn't have to be ran. But like there's mid-tier cars, it's got to be ran. And if you got a code you can't fix, yeah, that car is essentially sidelined.
Yeah.
Bricked, as we would say. Okay, cylinder number 2.
So wires. So what do you mean by wires? You can fix wires. You mean spark plug wires or the wires themselves? Or like electric wiring?
As far as what?
As far as when you said wires. When you said spark plug and wires?
Spark plugs and the spark plug wires.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm kind of just stupid.
Okay, that one's ran.
What?
So that one is ran. Moving to back. Okay, let's see. 2, 4. Now, I will say they tried to have the right idea here with the way they ran the wires, but then they're putting wires on top of wires and they could have moved it up one. Yeah, sometimes I wonder about some of these techs. Don't want to badmouth them. I mean, you know, they're just trying to make a living like everybody else, but. Alright, let's see what survey says.
You know what? You know why I think people spray their engine with paint? just a wild thing here. You want to know why I think that? Because I don't think they want like looking at the rust on this engine. That's why a lot of drag racers paint their engine.
Well, there is a science to it. If you see a guy who painted his engine black, that's because the black radiates the most heat. There's an old saying in the industry, chrome don't get you home.
Oh, we're not talking like 70s here. We're talking like...
I'm saying in general.
Like we're talking, well, for what does red do? What does white do? What does blue do? What does the American flag do that makes your engine hot?
Red, white, and blue.
I'm curious because like some of these guys that paint their thing, they want it to match the color of the car and VTEC. And I'm like, so why are you painting it? Like VTEC. I just don't understand why people paint it. Why do you think they paint it? I mean, other than the heat.
As you grow up as a little boy, when I grew up, so I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s kind of thing. We had model cars.
Yeah, model cars, yeah.
So we would paint the engine, the blocks, we would paint the chassis, we would paint all this stuff. So I think what happens is as we get older,
you want to do that.
You want to do what you did, just on a bigger scale, or you can actually go vroom vroom.
Yeah. So, well, because they paint their suspension.
Oh, yeah.
They paint their,
Brakes.
Their rod arms. They paint the whole body. They paint the freaking shocks. Like, I've seen painted shocks. They also have those weird looking calipers. They paint their calipers too.
Yeah, the Honda guys like to paint them red, think they're Brembos.
yeah. So like, I was sitting there like, huh.
So here's another one that was dropped in shipping. Well, the gap on it's wrong. It's supposed to be 35, and it was gapped at 25, so it means it was dropped.
Oh, really? So can we still use them?
Oh, yeah.
Do you like chameleon paint? Oh, Dr. Frank says, do you like chameleon paint?
If it's the paint I'm thinking of where it shifts colors.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
That's really cool.
I like it when I see them on a lead sled.
Lead sled?
Yeah, so they call it lead sled. It was a 1940s car because when they made the bodies, they built them with lead. To feel in and smooth.
You know what I really like? I really like the Lamborghinis that have that chameleon paint on them. They change color. I think that's the only time I own a supercar.
Yeah, an old 40s lead sled would be cool to drive.
GMC. GMC. Alright, we got one more coming in here. There we go. Are you ever going to... I got another question while you do your work. You ever going to paint your truck a different color or vinyl? Vinyl.
Is he talking about this truck?
Yeah, we're talking about this. Yeah.
So, the project name for this one, we call it the Wrong Burgundy.
Wrong Burgundy.
Oh, we do like the Anchorman movie. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But this paint actually matches my 95 Chevy Silverado. So when we were dreaming up this build for this about a year ago, we're sitting in the living room and going, what color would look good on that truck? And so we were cruising the internet.
Yeah.
Right? And we found one with this color, but it had a silver stripe on the side.
Yeah, it was big old fat.
And so it broke the paint up because this truck, see if I can get a view for you guys. It's got a lot of red on it. Well, technically maroon, but...
Maroon, well, yours is maroon. Right here. Let's look at the, this is a truck here.
So, yeah, it's one complete color, and the paint's in good shape. So, show them where we want to break the paint on this.
So, what we want to do is we want to put the stripes, big old stripe right here, all the way down. And possibly just keep this because it's black, And we're also going to paint some vinyl on it. So what they want to know is like if we're going to make it if we're going to have a decal on it. I was thinking like little lightning strike bolt.
That would look cool too. We saw a couple of those.
Yeah.
Like this project we've been dreaming up for about a year. So to actually find the truck and the color we wanted in a year, it kind of all just came together.
Yeah. No, I think we're definitely going to make a design. We're also going to remove a few things that shouldn't be on this car.
Yeah, someone put a Sirius satellite radio up on the top and punched through the hood or the top there.
Yeah, we're gonna make it all special. We're going to get new badges for it. We're going to get a new grill for it. Like, we're not done doing this project.
No, the first thing with any project, you get it running. So you go through and make sure, like, in my shop, I'll tell you guys a story. When I lived out the woods, I watched this guy build a $70,000 GTO. Now think about this. It was a judge. It was a numbers matching.
Yeah.
He got so excited. He got the engine in. He got everything done. He went and put it in gear. He pulled it out of his driveway. But he had not bled his brakes.
Yeah.
Took this GTO clean off a cliff. I didn't kill him. He lived.
What? You took it off the cliff?
Took it off a cliff because his house was on a hill. And so he forgot to do the brakes. Right? And so this $70,000 numbers matching, beautiful orange GTO, a car they only made like 1,500 of, right into a tree.
Oh, rip that money.
That is now a $70,000 parts car. So when I first started doing restorations, the one rule that I had is brakes first. We do the brakes first. I don't care anything else, engine training, all that, brakes first. Because if someone does get excited and want to, back it out and all that, I don't want to see another $70,000 GTO fall off a cliff. Now here, it'd run right back into our fence, but not the same. That's body damage.
Yeah.
And as it's getting hard to find parts because of the coronavirus, we got to be careful we don't do that. So yeah, first things first, you get it in, you do your brakes, make sure the brakes work. Then from there, you go to engine tranny, like this one. It ran. So, we did actually run it for a couple weeks before we actually decided, okay, we need to pull it in for major service. The radiator was leaking, front timing cover, oil pan, all this other stuff. But yeah, do the brakes first because there's no point in doing anything else if the thing don't stop.
We still got a lot more to go.
Yeah, we got a lot more to go, but we're getting there. This is about 2 months in so far.
Are you good there? Set it down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was working on 2-4 cylinder number 4.
Yeah, we got another one. Dr. Frank says again. Are you going to start it on this live? I'm guessing they want to hear this thing. I don't know. What do you think?
We're gonna try.
Night. It's a pretty good night for it. I think it's a pretty good night for it.
The only problem that I saw is that when I was plugging in number 2, the cap pulled up, so
it's gonna misfire then.
Might have a little miss to it.
Okay.
But it'll still run. We know it'll run. Not check the code.
I got a good plan. We have it started for a bit, and then we take the camera and then put it on the scanner, the little OBD2 scanner.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this cap might be going back to AutoZone. It's the first time I've used an AutoZone cap.
Thank you for asking, because I definitely wanted to hear this thing purr. I'm tired of hearing it not start. You know what's funny? You keep starting this thing, and it starts faster and faster every moment. Every minute, it starts faster and faster. And it's the point where you can't even start it and go click on.
Well, at first we had a little bit of a problem with fuel pressure, so the fuel pump was definitely tired.
Yeah.
So we got that fixed. And then we're working on ignition right now, so 2-4, 4's in the back. Okay, I don't know what they're thinking there with that one. That got fit. All right, what happened? Wire number 4. A little short.
I would definitely like to. Oh, here's another problem. Dr. Frank, we got a bit of an issue. We got the muffler and the exhaust tip wanted to blow out because of the power this thing holds. So we got to be careful with carbon.
Yeah, then the worst thing they're going to hear is the alarm go off.
Oh, yeah, the beep, beep, beep.
Okay, we're going to just play with the coil wire for a second. I want to get that out of my road. Okay, we're good there.
We also have plans of putting I don't know, I mean, do you think we would ever straight, no, we're definitely straight piping the second vehicle we get for the man.
Yes.
We're definitely straight piping that thing. We're putting the beefiest muffler on there. We'll make sure it's loud, make sure it cracks and pops.
Oh, you're gonna be that guy.
Yeah. I also want to install a roller bar in the back of it and make sure it jumps. I want to make my car jump. I want to make the truck jump. I go woo. You know, I want it to jump. You've ever seen those Blazers jump? Yeah. Dr. Frank said, "Oh, geez."
Yeah, at the ORV park.
Yeah, there's freaking Dodge Dakotas jumping, like, you know, with a roller bar on them. I've always wanted to make something with a roller bar on it. So how are we looking on this?
Looking like we got one wire too short.
What? Serious?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
I figured that one out.
Gotta make it longer.
Yeah. I don't know. There's been times with these vehicles I've actually had to use 2 spark plug wire kits to make one work.
Yeah. Well, let's hope you get all of them in, so you don't,
Oh, I'll get it running. I might have to see if I put one too long here, but I don't think so.
No, that would have been a nice shot. That side of the truck. For a thumbnail. That would have been
Oh, I see what I did. I put a long where a short was.
Oh, nice. Good job.
It happens to me every time I do one of these like that.
Alright, Dr. Frank says y'all should do a Q&A someday.
Yeah.
We were planning on it years ago. We could do that. And I could reveal the cameraman, even though the cameraman's already been revealed. That means we would need to get comments. Most of those comments are on like vehicles breaking down though, not like actual would you get this, would you get that though. If we had more of that, we totally would.
So we keep 4 up. Down.
Dr. Frank says, I'll ask all the questions. Laughing emoji. Yeah. You know what? That wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, no, I'm pretty much gonna start something like this, but it's gonna be different. It's gonna be on TWITCH. See.
Yeah, sometimes with these V8s, you have to end up getting 2 spark plug sets of wires because of the fact that the ones they give you are either going to be too long or too short, especially on the Chevy 350s.
Chevy.
Yeah, the last time I did a Chevy 350, I lined out all the wires, I did everything perfect, and I still came up short. Now I had the same problem on my 95, and I did this guy's on a 94, and I ended up having to buy 2 sets, and it's really redonkulous the way they do it. They should give you a little extra. It's better to have a little too much that you can route than have a little too less that you have to sit there and fuss with. So
Yeah.
kind of what I got going on here.
Yeah, I know.
Because the last wires I have are all short.
So what you did is you swapped them.
Well, yeah, because I'm going to have to put the shortest on the back, which that's pretty standard fare.
So that's why this is probably going to misfire if you do.
Yeah, no, it'll still run. It's not the way I'm going to leave it.
Well, yeah, I don't really like that, because if you did, dude,
No,
you're paying for it.
I pay for it anyway, but...
Hey, don't act like I didn't help with this project.
No, you did.
Truck. Oh, hey, I earned my license in 4 years of high school for this, so that's my payment.
Yeah, so this is a graduation present to make sure you got up every day, went to school, and graduated.
I did it. I barely, I'm barely passing flying colors, but I did it. I did it. Matter of fact, I did. I have done it.
Yep, and you did better than I did in high school. I'll give you that.
Yeah, and I even got an 88 on my driving.
I still beat you there.
No, you didn't.
I got 92.
So what? That was like in the 90s, 2000s.
That's still in the same town.
88 is a great standard. No, that was in Deer Park. Don't even.
No, I did that here in Spokane.
Nah.
I did. Ask your mom.
Dude, why does everyone who does 911 go to different states? Like Idaho, you got ones from different states or different places in Idaho. You got one from what's an area in Idaho that's really popular other than Coeur d'Alene?
Boise.
Boise, yeah. You got one from there. You got people from there coming all the way down here because they don't have one. It amazes me they can even get here to that gas mileage, the way they drive their cars.
Well, reality is that they might have a parent here.
Well, no. I have one who's in Idaho who has to drive herself to get here, or she has her mother do it. But they're in Idaho, they're in the wood end of Idaho. They live in the woods.
That one didn't want to come out.
Which one?
Let's see, 246.
246, huh?
6-cylinder.
Ha!
We're on the 6th cylinder.
Funny.
Yeah, you like that?
Because mine's an 8. Don't be afraid to ask questions, stop by, or do whatever for the people that are coming in, even if it is little. You always start out small before you go big.
That one don't look too bad. I'll show you. Oh, wrong end.
Narcon.
Hey, you like that? That's probably the cleanest plug I pulled out so far. Overall, not too bad. For 205,000 miles, I wouldn't expect anything less. Okay, almost done, and I gotta figure out these wires. Man, the UPS guy must have been drunk the day he did this. Look at this. You don't even have to get a gap tool to see that. 25 thousandths. These are 35 thousandths plugs. Yeah, on iridium and platinum plugs, you don't ever check the gap on. I mean, you can check them, but you gotta be real careful you don't knock that piece of iridium out, because you can knock one of those plugs dead quick.
Oh, we got another question by Dr. Frank again. What is your favorite tool to use?
What job?
What?
Depends on the job.
I want to go with this job right now. Well, I'm saying, what job did you have to do that your favorite tool to use in this truck?
I like these right here. These little flippy tools. Now they're kind of nice, but they're also kind of a pain too. I mean, you can get in great angles, but then there's sometimes you get on the torque and then it kind of wants to go that way on you. But these heads that flex, they're really nice for this. And this magnetic spark plug tool, like especially when you're doing Hemis that have 16 spark plugs, it makes a difference. Now you can actually hear the copper crush washer collapse, which is good. You don't want them loose, but we do not want to over tighten them. Okay, I'm gonna get this coil wire out of my way. Okay, so as per the instructions, go under here. Not around the air conditioner, of course. Okay, we're going to come up. We're going to route this way. Come out of the PCB valve. Okay, we're going to go in the back, away from the harness, and onto the coil. And the throttle cable too. Okay, coil wire. Okay, make sure it looms in the important areas. And we'll have to loom this too. I suppose what I could do for now, let's run the loom down. This will go this way. You don't want this wire chafing against the valve cover, because then again you'll start having misfires. Okay, so now as you see, we're routed on top. Now you would think that this would cause some interference with the fuel injection harness, but it doesn't because it's loomed and it does have an air gap. So we're good there. I do have a short wire here. I'm going to have to deal with that in a minute. We're getting there. We're getting there. Let's see what our shortest or longest is. That's definitely for the back cylinder. Okay, one to go. Alright, a little bit of dielectric in case we got to pull these off. Sometimes when I'm doing this particular TSB, I might have to take this off and on a couple times, so it's just good to have some goop on there. Alright, so we're 246. 6 is on the other side. And then it comes around. Oh man, that's tight. Okay.
Dr. Frank says, what's your favorite color on a trunk?
I like the burgundy. I've owned 2 vehicles with burgundy on it, so.
Honestly, I think blue and gray.
But I will say, for my '69 Malibu, that's going to be a midnight blue with speckle paint in it. So it's going to have a little bit of pearl with the midnight blue. Oh, it looks like it's going fast just sitting there.
Pearlescent?
Yeah, they put pearl flake into the paint. So when you look at it, it looks like stars. Real small, of course.
Well, I'd probably do mine black and orange.
Oh. This one's too tight. I just have to get a different tool on that one.
Yeah. They said pretty.
Someday, because that Malibu goes for 70 grand when it's built. So this is one of those cases where my flex head's kind of biting me. Now this one's really tight.
What's that sound?
I'm having to hit the valve cover
Oh.
because this particular hole's a little tight. Not too bad. Now I'll show you something here on this plug. It's a little interesting. You can see where it's white right there. That's from leaning out. So at one time this truck, at least in the last time that this has been done, definitely had a fuel pressure problem. Or it had a vacuum leak in that cylinder. We'd also done the intake. I do have a video coming out for that. We did the intake, the front timing cover, timing chain. Because the funny thing was when we put, I was about ready to put the timing cover on, I was looking real carefully and I thought I had a head gasket leak, but then I followed it up and then the intake gasket was actually wet. And so when we pulled the intake off, the whole gasket was wet. Like both sides. It blew me away. Like, it'd been done once because it was a Dorman part. Now the gasket we put in was an updated Dorman set, so definitely had a problem with them. Oh, I forgot to check the gap on that one. Whoops.
Good job.
That's when you know it's starting to get to be quitting time.
It's only 6.
Yeah.
6 in Spokane. We are in, oh, we already said where we are, Spokane.
Yep. We are in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, Pacific Northwest.
We're halfway in a desert.
We're like in a desert, in a forest, and midway in water.
Yeah, we get lots of snow, and then we get lots of heat.
Lots of snow, lots of cold, then heat. And as soon as, oh, you know what would be a good one? AC unit. Once summer comes.
Yeah. I have a
My
feeling.
AC man.
Yeah, I have a feeling. I think the compressor's shot on this because there's no gas in the system.
Oh no, I don't even feel the AC when I switch it.
Yeah,
AC.
the compressor don't kick.
Yeah, I know.
So this plug was the worst. This thing was 15 thousandths.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of things that don't work on the shop. One thing I wish you could find is like door frames, like or the inside of it, because right now, cosmetically, for me, it's not doing so good. And it's also water busting everything out.
Yeah, we're gonna need to find a parts truck.
Yeah, that has like the dash. That has like a really good dash, really good cluster, really good bumpers, the front grills, the door panels, maybe even better speakers. Probably like better everything in the interior. What do you think?
Yeah.
Because I mean, cosmetically, yeah, it's not doing so good. But right now, we're not worried about cosmetic. We're worried about the truck running.
Yep, this is going to be a 2-wire job. Man.
2-hour job, yeah.
No, 2-wire job. I need to get another box of wires.
Sorry, I heard 2 hours. I can't hear anything when I'm trying to listen.
Yeah, this is kind of the perils we get into with aftermarkets. Kind of a pain in the butt that way, but I've got to get another box of wires so I can actually do this the way I want to do it. So frustrating. Alright folks, I'm going to have to stop there. I've got to go get another box of wires, and I'll show you why. We'll live stream that. The thing is, my long wires are perfect, but my short ones for the back cylinders are not long enough to route them the way I need to route them according to that paper. So I'm going to run AutoZone. I will be back here probably in about an hour, so if you want to come back, we will finish this. We will start this up, so you'll hear it, but make sure you come back. But yeah, I have to run AutoZone. It takes about an hour.
I don't even think we can hold the live. I think we have to actually end it.
No, we're going to end it.
Okay.
But I'm not doing this wrong. See, I'm only doing this once. But this wire's too short. This back one's too short. And the way the distributor is, it's offset. So you can't have a short side. Now, I could, flip the wires, make it tight. But the problem is I do not like, and I get really irritated with really tight wires. Because you're going to see when I go through that paper, the way that Dodge wants this rerouted, you need longer wires. And the only way you can do that, you got to buy 2 sets to do it correctly. So I will be back in about an hour. But we thank you for watching. We'll see you real soon, and we will start this up on the next live stream.
Alright. I'm kind of hungry, man.
Yeah, we're going to get something to eat.
Yeah. All you got to do is got to hit that. Then you got to hit that. So